A woman hires someone to catch her boyfriend cheating, and the plot twist goes viral, making a connection. Alicia Bush and Corbin Lee met in circumstances not quite unlike most young couples do, at the mall. The two decided to meet up as part of a blind date, and pretty soon they were hitting it off as young couples do. At first, it seemed as though they were doing pretty well together, especially for a long-distance relationship. When Alicia started having her doubts about Corbin's faithfulness, she tested him in a way she would later regret. Not sure what to expect. While Corbin and Alicia were certainly attracted to one another on a superficial level, neither of them had any idea what to expect from one another in person. One of the most difficult things to overcome in a relationship is expectations. While the two were both going into this with an open mind, neither had any idea whether there would be a genuine connection between them or not. Only after meeting they would know whether or not they were right for one another. Hitting it off. The two had decided to meet at a mall in Arizona. Being two young and confident people, they were both out to have a good time and met someone new. Neither had been in a serious relationship for a while, and so were looking to test the waters, so to speak. After meeting at a restaurant in a mall, the young couple-to-be started to hit it off with one another. The jokes flowed and their connection seemed palpable. Things were going well. Long distance. While the young couple had managed to make a connection on the first date and were practically an item before they even left the mall, there was one little problem. Corbin was primarily based in California, and Alicia was a student in Arizona. Even though the couple felt that they had made a meaningful connection pretty early into their relationship, neither had ever tried long-distance relationships before, and both were equally as nervous about their first attempt. Communication issues. As time went on, the couple found a balance for their relationship. While they didn't get the opportunity to spend much direct time together because of the distance and their busy schedules, they made up for it by staying in touch constantly. Whenever they had the time, you could find the two chatting to one another or sending messages. However, as time went on, Alicia felt that things had started to change between the two of them. Their communication was fading. Having her doubts. As time went on and their relationship persisted, Alicia started having her doubts about the whole relationship. One main reason for this was when the couple met in Las Vegas for a family gathering. She and Corbin tried to spend as much time together during this short period to make up for the distance, but there was an issue. The two went to a club and Alicia noticed how other girls were hitting on Corbin. She suspected that he was cheating on her. A test of faith. After leaving Las Vegas, Alicia decided that she needed a way to test whether Corbin was cheating on her or not. Alicia realized that one of her close friends worked in the same gym as Corbin. Her name was Paula Contento, and Alicia decided to ask her whether she would mind asking Corbin out on a date to test whether he was faithful or not. She agreed to pay Contento $50 for the setup. What happened next was surprising. Bad news. While Alicia waited anxiously for any news regarding the operation, she wondered about whether she and Corbin were really meant to be. As the hours went by, she kept her phone close and tried to stay optimistic, believing that Corbin would never cheat on her. The following day, she got a distressing message from Contento. She explained how not only had Corbin agreed to go on a date with her, but the two had even gone as far as sleeping together. Alicia was heartbroken. Parting ways. After hearing the news about Corbin cheating on her with Contento, Alicia was really hurt. She believed that he had been faithful this whole time. Finding out that he was cheating on her was too much. She decided to end the relationship there and then. While the couple had enjoyed over a year together, Alicia could not stand cheating and would not be able to trust Corbin from that point on. She decided to leave things at that and part ways with Corbin. Moving on. While the breakup was somewhat unexpected for Corbin, the couple felt that they had hit the rocks. For Corbin, it didn't really feel as though there was any real reason for their breakup, as he suspected that this had to do with some kind of communication. The breakup was equally difficult for Alicia, as the two had made a connection during their time together. Now, they had to focus on moving on, which is never as easy as it sounds. Validation. Despite ending things so abruptly, It seemed as though both parties were still interested in figuring out exactly what had happened in the months just after the relationship. Corbin was still defending his innocence, proclaiming that he had never cheated on Alicia. Alicia was getting angrier and angrier because she believed that he was lying to her face. So rather than leaving the whole story unfinished, both Corbin and Alicia decided to try something different. They both seemed to want validation, and Alicia had a perfect idea. Second Chance. Second Chance is a short, episodic show that is designed for Snapchat users and made for mobile viewing. The show is primarily focused on giving couples who broke up a chance to understand each other's point of view and try to come to some sort of mutual understanding. The idea is to encourage a second chance at love, and both Alicia and Corbin were more than keen to try and to get down to the bottom of this. Confronting him. The day of the show arrived, and both were nervous about seeing one another again. The moment their conversation started, Alicia went on the offense. She kept telling Corbin she was angry at him because she knew he had cheated on her.
So are you ready to be honest and tell me that you're cheating on me?
Is that how we're going to start this off?
Yeah, that is it. We haven't talked about it yet.
I didn't cheat on you.
Corbin was taken aback and kept claiming that he was innocent. Alicia said that she had a reliable source and went on to explain how they went on a date together and then hooked up. The person was no other than Paula Contento, maintaining innocence. As Alicia kept hammering on about how Corbin had cheated on her and how she had all the details, Corbin simply kept defending his innocence. He described how Contento had approached him and asked him out on a date. Corbin explained that it was purely business and that he only had dinner with her and discussed exchanging free training for some exposure on her Instagram page, which had a lot of followers. From his point of view, he had never cheated on Alicia with anyone.
So are you saying she's lying?
I'm saying she's lying.
Let's find out from her.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my God.
The third wheel. Paula Contento was a mutual friend of both Alicia and Corbin. In terms of the saga that was currently unfolding, she was the third wheel in the relationship. Corbin had known her for a while because she trained at the same gym as him, and the two were on friendly terms, but not much else. Alicia only really knew Paula through the grapevine, and had trusted her out of a sense of mutual female camaraderie. They were both about to make a shocking discovery. Too many factors. It had become apparent that Alicia had decided to trust Paula Contento purely on a whim. While there is such a thing as mutual sense of camaraderie between women, Alicia had put all of her faith regarding her relationship with Corbin entirely in the hands of a stranger. While there was some connection between the two, the truth was that Alicia did not really know that much about Paula and therefore had no idea what her true intentions were. The importance of trust. In any relationship, trust is the bedrock or foundation on which everything else is built. Without trust, there is nothing else for the relationship to really grow into, and the constant doubt and mistrust will only lead to more and more regression. When we doubt one another, we tend to ruminate on negative thoughts and feed harmful ideas about one another that are often either not true or simply hamper our ability to make progress. A major realization. For the sake of the show, Paula had been invited on via webcam to share her version of the story. As Corbin and Alicia kept arguing back and forth trying to figure out where this had all gone wrong, Paula finally took a stand. She explained how she had kept the money and lied to Alicia about Corbin's cheating. Both Corbin and Alicia were completely floored by this realization, as neither of them had ever considered that possibility. Being lied to. Both Alicia and Corbin were stunned. Alicia only then admitted to Corbin that she had actually paid Contento to hit on him as a means of testing his faithfulness. Corbin was totally shocked by this and felt betrayed by Alicia's degree of mistrust. He was hurt that she would go so far to test him.
Why would you pay a girl to talk to me?
On top of this, Alicia was totally stunned by the fact that Paula had lied to her about Corbin too. It seemed as though everyone had been cheated, except Paula. Opening up. Alicia started opening up about her reasons for trying to set up Corbin. She felt sad about the fact that she had mistrusted him, but tried to explain that the distance and her suspicions drove her to it. She was hurt by her decision, but thought it necessary at the time. Corbin was really hurt by that, but could see why she would go that far. She must have really liked him. Things started to make sense now, as the dust settles. As anyone who has been in a serious relationship will know, it's often very difficult to think clearly when you're feeling emotional. There is a lot going through your mind, and for Corbin and Alicia, they had come to a rather disappointing but equally validating realization. In some ways, both felt bad about having either been lied to or mistrusted, but between the two of them, there was a renewed sense of trust, as they realized that neither was actually at fault. Paula's comeback. As Corbin and Alicia realized that they had both been lied to, the attention turned to Paula. Alicia was incredibly angry at her and called her a homewrecker. She was annoyed that her trust had been betrayed by someone who she considered a friend. Paula explained how she didn't think it was fair for Alicia to have such an honorable man and decided to try and break them up so that she could have a shot at Corbin herself. The plan had double backfired, it seemed. Making mistakes. Everyone is guilty of making mistakes sometimes. We're all only human after all, and that means that we're faulted. If we were all perfect, life wouldn't be the same at all in any case. It's only through imperfection that you notice the perfections. As Alicia and Corbin had realized, when you make a mistake or suspect someone of something, it's often a lot better to confront them directly than letting it simmer and turning it into something much more complicated, like their current situation. But could the couple push past this hurdle? Making up. Once the dust had settled, Alicia realized that Corbin had not actually cheated on her in the first place. He was indeed a loyal and trustworthy partner and had been devoted to her the whole time. Alicia apologized for mistrusting him and felt sad that she had given into her paranoia so quickly. Both she and Paula agreed that they had been wrong about how they were acting. Corbin and Alicia were ready to make up and wanted to get back together. Their second chance. After the show finished, the couple had managed to crack the mystery of their breakup. While both parties realized that they had been lied to, Alicia felt bad about mistrusting Corbin.
I'm sorry for doing that and making it go that far instead of talking to you about it.
Corbin felt bad that she didn't trust him, and both of them were angry at Paula for having cheated both of them out of their relationship. After the show concluded, Alicia and Corbin decided to get back together and started off where they had left their relationship all those months ago. Coming to terms. The couple had been through a lot, and by finally understanding what the real cause of their breakup was, they would ultimately be able to pick things up where they had left off. As far as either was concerned, the young couple couldn't be happier. There was a sense of validation in knowing that their fears were in fact irrational ones. They had been the trusting, loving couple they already wanted to be. They had just let one person get in the way of that. Resolution. As the couple got back together, they were grateful that they had managed to overcome the hardships of their relationship, and they had finally managed to get back to where they were. Alicia felt silly for having gone so far to test Corbin's faithfulness, and Paula was no longer in the picture. Sadly, though, the couple eventually broke it off shortly after getting back together, because all the drama had changed their feelings. But we're pretty sure their final goodbye was much healthier than their first.